Hi people, it's me Anja. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new recent read video. The first book on this list is called Am Defiance. This story is a middle-grade historical fiction book about a young girl who starts to question everything that she's been taught during World War II. I really enjoy the story because the plot is just so intriguing. It was the right balance of being like thrilling and entertaining as well as being very educational. You know what I mean? I love it when I can learn something from a historical fiction story. And also, speaking of educational, I think that there should be more stories talking about the White Rose, because I feel like the White Rose is such an underrated piece of history that more people should learn about. You know what I mean? This book is so good. It was so insightful and so educational and just really, really good. And I found myself just really, really enjoying it, if that makes any sense. It was just so good, and I ended up rating it 3.5 stars because I was personally more interested in what was happening than who was happening to, if that makes any sense. Like, I was more interested in the plot than the characters, but overall it was really good and it was very insightful and educational, so we love to see it. The next book on this list is called One Jar of Magic. This story is a middle-grade urban fantasy magical realism type of story. You know what I mean? It was really, really good. It follows Rose, who feels very lucky to be part of a magical family, until she realizes that magic isn't all that it's cracked up to be. This book is absolutely so good. The writing is so lyrical and wonderful. The world building was so wonderful and just so good. Rose as a character felt so realistic and like able to be rooted for, if that makes any sense. Like, I was able to like fall in love with her as a person, and I really enjoyed just reading her story because her voice felt so realistic and somewhat like relatable, if that makes any sense. There's a trigger warning on the story for domestic abuse, which I should have mentioned at the beginning of this review, and I'm sorry for that. But anyway, the story is really well done and I really enjoyed it, so I ended up giving this book 4 stars because the world building just felt so enchanting and just so wonderful. The plot was so intriguing, the characterization was so wonderful and felt so realistic and just so good. You know what I mean? So with that, I would highly recommend this book because, like I said, I gave it 4 stars and it was just really good. The next book on this list is called Red, White, and Whole. This book is absolutely so good. It's middle-grade historical fiction, and it follows a young Indian American girl whose life is turned upside down when her mom is diagnosed with leukemia. This book is absolutely so good. The writing is so lyrical and so wonderful and so lovely. The world building is absolutely so good. The main character's characterization is absolutely so wonderful and just so good. Similarly to One Jar of Magic, she felt like such a relatable, realistic character, and I really liked hearing her story because her voice felt so like realistic. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell that the story is own voices because the author's voice really came through and just really shone through the story, and the choice of having the story set during the 1980s just felt so real and touching, if that makes any sense. Basically, this story reminded me of like First Cicada Moon meets Other Worlds for Home. You know what I mean? This story is absolutely so good. It was so touching and wonderful and just so lovely and just so great, and that's why I gave it 4 stars because it was absolutely so good, and I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Rules for Stealing Stars. Similarly to One Jar of Magic, this story is also middle-grade magical realism urban fantasy. It follows Silly, who's the youngest of 4 sisters, and she always feels left out, so she feels very happy when she is included in her sister's magical adventures because she discovers that her sisters have this magical portal through their closet to this magical world. But conflict arises when she realizes that the magical world may be more than just an escape. This story was so good. I did really enjoy the world building, the sister relationship, the action-packed, fast-paced plot. We love to see it. Corey Ann Haydu's writing is so lyrical and so wonderful, and it was just so good. However, I rated this book 3.5 stars, whereas I rated One Jar of Magic 4 stars, just because I felt like with this one, I was reading something that was very similar to One Jar of Magic. Almost too similar. You know what I mean? I felt like I was kind of reading the same story, but just with different characters. if that makes any sense, because the world building felt, like I said, too similar. So with that, that's why I gave this book 3 stars and One Jar of Magic 4 stars. And like I'm comparing them because they're written by the same author. But anyway, with that said, like I said, I rated this book 3 stars. So yeah. The last book on this list is called As Far As You'll Take Me, written by Phil Stamper. This story is a YA contemporary story, and there are trigger warnings on this story for disordered eating, anxiety, and toxic relationships. There are also more trigger warnings on this story, but those are the main ones. Anyway, this story follows Marty, who travels on a one-way trip to London to escape from his homophobic parents. And life is going dandy. He's starting a new life. It's all fun and fresh and good until his anxiety catches up to him. This story was good. It was really good. I enjoyed Marty's characterization. I enjoyed being on this journey with him. I enjoyed his literal and figurative journey. You know what I mean? I enjoyed his friendships that he was making because his friends seemed really nice and wonderful and lovely. And like I said, Marty's voice felt very realistic. The angst in the story felt very like thrilling, if you know what I mean. Like I was excited to see where it was going to go. You know what I mean? Basically, I really enjoyed the direction of the story. It was really well done, and Marty felt like a great character. However, I didn't find myself enjoying this story as much as I enjoyed The Gravity of Us. For those who don't know, The Gravity of Us is Phil Stamper's previous book, his debut book, which I read last year, and I really enjoyed. However, I think that's why I didn't enjoy this book as much as The Gravity of Us, because I feel like my expectations were a little bit too high. But with that said, I will say that I did rate this book 4 stars because it was really good. I just found myself preferring The Gravity of Us. You know? So basically, I do highly recommend this book because it was good and it was solid. I just prefer The Gravity of Us. I think that book is definitely better. But I will not, like, count out Phil Stamper as an author. You know what I mean? I will continue to be reading books by him because he is a really talented writer, because his writing is really good. So with that, I gave this book 4 stars. I highly recommend it. And yeah, so in conclusion, the book that I enjoyed the most was definitely Red, White, and Pearl, and the one that I enjoyed the least was definitely Rules for Stealing Stars. But with that said, I highly recommend all the books on this list. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below your opinions on any of these books if you've read any of them. If you haven't read any of them, comment down below why you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!